Hi, everyone. Harry here to talk at least a bit about the absolute bedlam cataclysm that the Trump tariffs have unleashed on this country. This is outside my normal strike zone, as you know, but I've not only gone to school on this morning, but had the great privilege of having a live conversation with Nobel Prize winning economist Paul Krugman. Really can't think of a better person on earth to talk to, and felt really fortunate that he joined us. So that Substack Live, if you missed it, will be replayed. But let me just talk a little bit. So first, the degree of absolute bedlam, right? Trump makes this Rose Garden speech April 2nd. Since then, the markets plunge, and this morning plunge again. We actually entered briefly bear market territory, which is denoted by a 20% loss of value. Teeny rallies back and forth have us higher than that, but still, it's a one more terrible day. Over $5 trillion of wealth vaporized in the last couple of days, and nearly $10 trillion vaporized since the beginning of the Trump administration. Talk about shock and awe. In the meantime, the markets and really the sort of, biggest voices in the financial kind of establishment are getting mighty nervous and are backing away. Even some whispers in Congress, of all things, actually potentially having an inch or two of daylight with Trump. And, as is their watchword, the administration, starting with Trump, has been incredibly blithe and arrogant about this all. So Trump just this morning has, after there were rumors that he was going to modify some of the tariffs, which are now at the highest rate. Krugman explains this more, but probably the highest rate in history, and higher than they thought because of a total elementary school blunder in mathematics here. And that was, by the way, against the backdrop where they decided on everything at 1 o'clock before a 5 o'clock Rose Garden address. Just, breathtakingly incompetent. So we have Trump saying they are a beautiful thing, and eventually we'll all see it. The tariffs are, his words, beautiful thing. And then the absolute kind of buffoonish seeming Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent saying on TV, making the tour dutifully on Sunday, and saying, everything is hunky-dory, going just like we planned. Of the $10 trillion in losses, his remark, just, hold your breath while I say this, is, Americans who are saving on their 401ks, they don't mind a little day-to-day disruption. That's the words, ladies and gentlemen, of our Treasury Secretary. Okay, where are we and how bad is it? And I felt really lucky, as I say, to be able to talk to Krugman about this. Now, his view has been, and I think it's pretty conventional among economists, that tariffs do not cause recessions. And for the primary point that, as he'll say, 30 times a week, the stock market is not the economy. And more than half of Americans don't even own stock. But so he thinks tariffs, which, typically, maybe not typically, universally, categorically haven't brought on recessions, kind of until now. This is, it's funny, the wrong word, but people campaign for president saying all these things they'll do to the economy, and the fact is the presidency, sort of the dirty secret, doesn't have all that much power to affect the economy. But here we have one madman flying a plane, veering up and down crazily, who actually has probably single-handedly brought on this huge mess that may, in fact, bring about a recession. As Krugman explained, it's less the tariffs themselves, although the tariffs themselves are now triggering a trade war. You have China flexing its muscles, promising retaliatory measures, condemning the tariffs sharply, Thank you, Donald Trump. Everyone hates us in the world. Not that China and Russia's hatred is so much to worry about. Indeed, it's arguable we should seek it, but add them now to Europe, Mexico, Canada, and all of these, the wages of Trump 2.0. But anyway, Krugman's essential point is, it's not exactly the tariffs that are doing this, but there is a real prospect now of recession. Goldman Sachs has told its clients this morning 35% chance. Others are at over 50. Not in Krugman's view because of the tariffs, but because of the just massive uncertainty, inconsistency, veering wildly back and forth, and it all being in the hands of one man who is notorious for breaking promises and not being able to trust him. I mean, in some ways, it's worse if he, changes his mind from an hour ago and changes the tariffs abruptly in an hour. What's really going on that is completely paralyzing the U.S. and now world economy is his total inconsistency, caprice, lying ways, and of course, underlying it all, fundamental incompetence. Who the hell is he to, make these kinds of decisions for the world economy? So that is the sort of fundamental problem here. Will it lead to recession? I mean, if it does, again, per Krugman's view, that's why. And, I think it brings home very well, this is what Krugman's great at, the connection between what sometimes seems like the sort of ethereal actions by the financial elite and the possible economic suffering that it occasions on Main Street. Here we have complete sort of bedlam and ultimate uncertainty and chaos brought on by one man. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video and other Talking Feds content, please take a second to like and subscribe. Talk to you later.